This is Braves Vision.
Thursday, late afternoon rubber game here in Boston. Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by Truist. Braves winning game one of the series on Tuesday. The Red Sox even things up yesterday, so the series on the line here on a Thursday afternoon. Hello again, Braves country. Brandon Gunn, CJ Nikowski with you. Yesterday, there was not much to like other than CJ's incredible catch up here in the booth on the Contreras foul ball. So let's turn the page from yesterday. Let's talk about the pitching matchup. You got a veteran and a young guy. You got a lefty and a lefty. This should be a lot of fun. And Chris Sale obviously coming back here to Boston. That's always a storyline.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of big arms here. Fans not going to be happy to see him in this Braves uniform and what he has done for the Braves. But how about Chris Sale when you get into these situations? Series-deciding games, right? The rubber matches for Chris Sale, 3-0. With an even 1 ERA, he has absolutely dominated when he has had the opportunities. This will be game number 60 for him in this ballpark. Now, some of those were out of the bullpen, but a place that he is very familiar and a place that he has pitched very well. Now, on the other side of things here, Peyton Tolley, we saw him when we were back in Atlanta. It was 8 innings for him, and he threw really, really well. This is a guy who fills up the strike zone with a high-octane fastball, and he works quickly. And so between these two lefties, it could end up being a pretty fast game today.
Yeah, it should be a very entertaining pitching matchup and a fun rubber game between the Braves and the Red Sox. Speaking of fun moments in this ballpark, with Bobby Cox and recently him passing away, so many fun ejections. Maybe the most memorable one came here at Fenway back in 2009. We're going to hear from the guys who were right there close to Bobby when this happened. We'll be right back with that story.
I think, to try to change his identity so people would forget about how bad he was on that day. But it was honestly one of the most epic days in baseball for me. And I think that was all that happened that day, right, Nick?
Do you remember what else happened that day?
I do not have any idea about what happened after that.
It was an exciting ending. It was Father's Day, by the way. Exciting ending for one Nick Green. First pitch in the bottom of the 9th inning. Peter wrapped it around the pesky pole. People think that's a short home run. That was one of the longer home runs down the pesky pole line. And it was my favorite as far as just a big hit, the big moment. I was so glad that I was able to be a part of that.
Yeah.
It was a nasty day, too, so I feel like you guys were happy about that as well.
Oh, obviously, very happy about that. Thank you very much.
Now?
Yeah, of course. Very happy.
Peter's very happy for me that I had a walk-off home run in Fenway Park against the
He was
Atlanta
also
Braves.
hitting .305 at the time, by the way.
Yeah, it was bad. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. 4th home run of the year. I did look that up as well. Well, lineups of first pitcher coming up next. It's the series finale against the Boston Red Sox. Brandon, CJ, and Wiley will take it from here.
To you by Georgia Natural Gas. It's that simple. By Delta Airlines. Keep climbing. And by the Georgia Lottery. Hurry and play Cash for today to instantly win an extra $444. Now through June 30th. Only from the Georgia Lottery. It is 68 degrees and the sun is shining here at Fenway Park. Game 3, the series finale between the Atlanta Braves and the Boston Red Sox. Braves wearing the Navy tops today, and Ronald Acuna Jr. is going to lead things off on this Thursday late afternoon. The lineup brought to you by Racetrack. See if the Braves can get in the scoring column early after being shut out 8-0 yesterday. And the man they will be facing is a rookie making his 10th big league start, his second now against the Braves, Peyton Tolley.
And he was good in that first one, right? It was 8 innings and a couple of runs allowed for Peyton Tolley. You're going to get a big-time fastball, and you're going to get a lot of pitches that are in the strike zone. He attacks opposing hitters.
And how about the Ford Keys today, CJ?
BG, I know you're familiar with sinking or swimming. How about sink or sink? You got to get to that sinker today for Peyton Tolley. It's got a .357 batting average against it. Everything else is really, really low. And a pick 6. We're not confusing our sports today. Chris Sale, when he goes at least 6 innings as an Atlanta Brave, is 23-7 with a 1.34 ERA. Go 6 today.
Up and in to start the game. What a difference between these two starters. Now they're both lefties. They both have some pop in that arm, but you've got the 23-year-old rookie here in Peyton Tolley. And then on the other side, Chris Sale at 37 in his 16th season, coming back to the place where he won that World Series ring in 2018. And that's the matchup this afternoon.
So we know how competitive Chris Sale is, right? We see it every time he takes the mound. You wonder, is there a little bit more for him when he comes back to Boston? He's done it before. And then when you're facing a 23-year-old pitcher, right? You're 37. You want to show the young guy what's up.
And a young guy who has looked up to Chris Sale for some time and finally got to meet him yesterday. Before the game, those two were chatting out on the field, and now today they go toe-to-toe. 2-2 pitch. Fouled back by Ronald Acuna Jr. Sale waiting his turn. He knows the lookout to that mound very well, but he knows it better from the first base dugout. Today he's over on the third base side. Full count. Home plate umpire here this afternoon. Young guy, 28 years old, Willie Traynor.
9 games in the big leagues so far, and he's rated pretty well. 21st of the 84 umpires with his correct call percentage this year.
96 by Ronald Acuna Jr. 1 down.
So suddenly here and lately for Ronald, the fastball has been a problem. There have been some struggles against the four-seamer. That's a good one there. It's 96. It's at the top of the zone. That was a 7-pitch at bat. 6 of the pitches were four-seam fastballs.
Opposing pitchers picking up on that scouting report. And Acuna to the dugout. Now Dubon. Dubon 2 for 8 in the series. He gets down here, no balls, 2 strikes. And you can hear the grunt from Tolle as he tosses in 98 miles per hour.
A lot of noisemakers these days on the mound, and whether it's a grunt or it's the wispiness of what we saw with the reliever that came in the first night here against the Braves. And Guerrero.
Dubon puts it in play, but just a soft pop-up. Sogard catches it. So Sogard's at second. Let's take a look visually at the rest of the defense for Chad Tracy's Boston Red Sox. Brought to you by Chevrolet. Clean defense for Boston yesterday. Was the Braves' uncharacteristic season high 3 errors in that 8-0 defeat on Wednesday night. And Matt Olson had one of them. The Gold Glover now swinging and missing at the first pitch from Tolle here. Bryce Elder got the start, ran into some trouble there yesterday. The damage was done in the 4th. That's where the Red Sox scored 6 and would cruise the rest of the way.
The Red Sox did a nice job of putting the ball in play. We talked about all those singles last night, and then they eventually broke through and got some help from the Braves defense.
And Connolly early, solid 7 innings scoreless. That's the other rookie that they have, and now you follow it up with Peyton Tolle, another southpaw today. Olson ready for that 1-2 four-seamer, but he's going to fly it out to Abreu, and the Braves go in order in the top of Chris Sale, the Braves ace in his 16th season, 3rd with Atlanta. Of course, he was with the Red Sox from 2017 to 2023, winning a World Series here with Boston. But now for the 2nd time in a Braves uniform, he takes the mound at Fenway Park to go against the Red Sox.
Take a peek at that ERA here for Chris Sale, and the fact that he has gotten a decision in each of his 10 starts. You see that record there at 7-3. You know what you're getting. Four-seam fastball and the slider, those are 1 and 2. You'll see some changeups. You'll see some two-seamers as well from the lefty.
Starts by facing Jarren Duran. The lineup for Boston. A lot of the damage from Duran. He's 6 for 10 with a couple of homers. There's the lineup brought to you by Racetrack.
So there's not a lot of history between most of these Red Sox hitters and Chris Sale, but for Duran, 3 for 5 with a double. He has seen Sale well in his career,
which not many can say against this talented lefty. That start last year, May 16th here at Fenway Park for Chris Sale. That's when he went the 7 innings, struck out 8, just 1 run, outdueled Garrett Crochet, and getting that win a season ago. Mateo gets the start at short and makes the play. Let's take a look at the rest of the Braves defense, brought to you by Chevrolet. Saw Dubon make a couple of fantastic plays out in left yesterday. So Kim gets the afternoon off. Sandy Leon, he's caught a lot of Chris Sale, many of those games right here in this ballpark, so kind of fitting that that's the battery today.
Yeah, kind of amazing to see. Second most innings, most strikeouts though, with Sandy Leon as his catcher in the career of Chris Sale.
A lot of comfort between those two good friends. Several Red Sox have been turning a corner in this series. Count Rafaela amongst them. 4 hits, a homer, 3 driven in.
Couple just missing on each side of the plate here for Chris Sale in this at bat. And one thing with Trainer behind the plate, he's got the opposite kind of heat map that everybody else has. Everyone else has kind of gotten, pretty wide, or I should say hot, calling a lot of pitches up and down. He is very tight wide. And so Chris Sale just missing there, and that could be a tendency we see this afternoon with William Trainer. Does it just go by Will?
I've got Willie.
We have Willie?
Yeah.
And then as I was looking up some heat maps yesterday, I had like the full William. All right, well, we got 3 options. I think that's what he's telling us, right? He's put up a 3. I thought I saw 3 there.
All 3, whatever you want to call me. Call me Bill. Rafaela towards Acuna. Well, Trainer at 28 is the youngest active major league umpire. So yesterday we had the tallest in Jordan Baker at 6'7". Now we've got the youngest.
It's our superlative group.
Will Trainer.
A lot of pressure on the other 2 guys. I wonder what they can bring to the table. Like, I'm the most fun. I'm the best cook.
Well, Alex Tosi at second. He won a Division III College World Series at Illinois Wesleyan. So I guess it's on Jansen Visconti over there at first base. Speaking of Wills, here's Wilyer Abreu.
So keep an eye on Abreu today. Again, a lot of times we'll look at Chris Sale and think about the advantage that he has against left-handed hitters. Abreu is hitting .410 against lefties this year. That is the 2nd highest number in baseball. Only Corbin Carroll has got a higher batting average against left-handed pitching for a left-handed hitter.
He's trying to sneak one down here, and it gets by Harris. Rolls out toward the track. It's going to be 2 bases for Abreu, as Dubon hustled over to keep him away from a triple.
Good job by Dubon, and a good reminder, outfielders have got to be moving all the time here in Boston, right? You see Michael going for this, and he just missed it. And that's not like him at all. Michael, of course, has been such an excellent defender, having a great year, and he just could not come up with that one. Now, he didn't touch it, so I'm guessing that'll end up going down as a double.
You just get spoiled watching Michael Harris make plays like that seemingly every time, but that one gets by him, and the inning continues. Here's Contreras. It is a double, so no error on the Braves center fielder.
But to your point about yesterday's game, right? 3 errors that were in the game, and some things popping up that don't always show up as an error, right? So you want to make sure the guys tighten it up a little bit here defensively.
That's what Walt Weiss said about that 4th inning yesterday when they asked him after the game. He said the thing that surprised me is that we didn't play clean baseball. A group that has played so well defensively this year, but that escaped the Braves a little bit there in the 4th yesterday. Had him out in front of the slider, 2-1.
Contreras doesn't get cheated, and he sees something come out of the hand of Chris Sale that he realizes is probably not going to be that fastball in, right? The Braves have been pounding him in. He was going to let it fly.
10-game hit streak for Wilson Contreras, current AL Player of the Week, and he's got a 3-1 count. All-Star game is 7 weeks away. Certainly think Chris Sale has good chance of being there, but also Wilson Contreras and Aroldis Chapman, probably Boston's top 2 candidates right now. And Contreras draws the walk. Andrew Monasterio, the designated hitter this afternoon. Pretty good gas there, 98 from Sale.
Can't get shown up by the young guy, right? The 37-year-old, and he probably does have a couple of ticks higher than what you'll see from Peyton Tolley. I think we might have seen 97 in that first inning from Tolley, and again, not the most important thing to Chris Sale, but I believe there's probably some extra adrenaline when you're facing a young up-and-comer, even if he was a fan.
And in Sale, you've got a guy who's making his 323rd career start. Most of those came actually in Chicago. So he's made 79 starts in Chicago at Guaranteed Rate Field, 57 now at Fenway Park, 28 at Truist. That one paints the outside corner.
A breaking ball has stayed mostly arm side so far here in this first inning for Chris Sale. And the one thing you always want to be careful about, if you try to throw the back foot one, that you don't overcorrect. And then it takes off on you, maybe catches a guy in the foot.
Trying to get out of this jam. 1-2. Just off the outside corner.
Good looking pitch, probably just a couple of inches off. Sandy presented it the best he could.
2 men on, 2 men out, 2 balls, 2 strikes. And a foul ball. It's another slider, and Monasterio stays alive.
And what you don't like is that pitch count climbing up here a little bit. Next one will be number 24 for Chris Sale.
That's 10 extra pitches since the ball out in center field that Harris couldn't bring in. Sale gets him. 98. Monasterio down swinging, scoreless after 1.
Straight heat from the left-hander.
Yeah, 32-ounce icy to start your late afternoon here at Fenway Park. On to the second. Ozzie Albies at the plate. Ozzie 1 for 8 in the series. Zaxby's who's got the sauce. It's a frequent discussion, but just how good he is against left-handed pitchers.
Good to see that back this year, right? We talked about it from day one of the season and how important it has been. Now we've got a tough lefty here tonight, or I should say, were you tonight or today? Were you on the 4 o'clock?
Yeah, I think we start with today and then we transition to this evening. That foul ball came just a couple booths over from us. A lot of people were buzzing in the dining area of the media press box up here about CJ's play yesterday.
Did that go back into the assistant GM's booth or the
I don't know where that one went.
It looked kind of close. I looked over, I saw Adam smiling, but
Ozzie going after the two-seamer. If you missed it yesterday in an 8-0 loss, this was the play of the game.
Unfortunately. I wish it was not. I wish there were bigger things to talk about. I'm happy to get it done. The kids were excited at home. They got extra excited. It was a Sports Center top 10. I got number 10. I don't think I ever did that in my playing career.
Oh, so I didn't realize that. That's awesome.
Make it.
And you said the exit velo on it was
only about 77. I kind of was hoping to be higher than that.
But let me tell you, when you don't have a glove,
yeah, appreciate it.
That's coming in hot.
I mean, it's just a better story if it's triple digits, right?
Almost triple digits there from Tolley. He's been hitting 97 as he often will, the lefty on the mound.
I saw something today really grabbed my attention. I'm looking at these two guys. They're both sitting. Chris Sale, Peyton Tolley, averaging 96 miles an hour on their fastball. This year early on for starting pitchers, and you know I'm not a decimal guy, but they are averaging, starting pitchers in the big leagues are averaging 94.5 with their fastballs this year. So call it 95 miles an hour. So take a look at kind of how things have been over the years. And that's what gets your attention, right? And if we take a quick peek at that again, but go back to 2010 where it was 91. ERAs kind of stay the same. Now 2020 probably not fair to look at the ERA. It was the shortened season. But look at the difference. You're talking about a 4-mile-an-hour jump in 16 years from your starting pitchers.
And there's some of that velo, 98 this time. But Tolley, 3 strikeouts through the first 5 he's faced.
And you know, again, he's going to come at you. He throws a lot of strikes. He puts these hitters on alert. Not a lot of takes going to be happening on pitches outside of the zone.
So his start 12 days ago in Atlanta against the Braves. That's when he went a career high 8 innings. Gave up the 2 runs. He's trying to get through 2 quick innings here, and he does, as he chases down Harris's comebacker. .68 degrees, beautiful here at Fenway Park. Bottom of the 2nd, and before Sale throws his first pitch in this frame, we go down to Wiley Ballard.
Well, Brent, he's going to throw that first pitch to Sandy Leon. It's no secret these two guys have worked together, teammates here in Boston from 2017 to 2019. So I asked Sandy today meant a little more having a chance to work with his old battery mate here in this ballpark one more time. And he downplayed some of the emotional significance of it, pointing out, look, it's just another game, but he did admit it's pretty cool. A lot of great memories here. It's going to be hard not to crouch behind that plate with a smile. Yeah,
there is something, too, I think, for players in the middle of it, where you don't always have the great perspective, right? Because you're out there competing. As we take a look at the innings, and we told you that, Sandy Leon second behind Tyler Flowers as far as most innings caught with Chris Sale. He does have the most strikeouts with Chris Sale, does Sandy Leon. But sometimes it has to be after. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things, like when you're in it, even as you get a little bit older, like you're just grinding, you're trying to win, you're not necessarily thinking about those kinds of things as much. Some guys might have a better perspective, but it is really about competing today.
You guys, I asked Sandy about Chris and what he looks like compared to when they were teammates in Boston, and Sandy said, look, he's the same guy, which, given that Chris is now in his late 30s and Sandy too getting older, I think it's a testament both how hard they work in the offseason.
It's difficult to do, and it's going to be.
Austin Riley throws a bullet over there to get Sogard.
Even more so going forward. I just don't think we're going to see these lengthy careers because of even what we were just talking about, right? With the high velocity fastballs and how hard guys go from pitch 1 of the game. It's going to be hard to pitch 16, 17, 18 years in the big leagues. We know how hard, of course, these catchers are working. Now, maybe the off days help a little bit, but I think these long, lengthy careers go back 20, 30 years when guys are playing 20, 22 years. Now it's like 15's a lot. And I think that number will continue to come down.
And knock on wood, you would think that Chris Sale will get at least one more start here at Fenway Park with how his career is going. For Sandy Leon, this might be his last start here, a place that obviously means a lot to him. 156 starts in this ballpark throughout the long career of Sandy Leon. And these two guys are tied together by winning the 2018 World Series title here. They're also both 37 years old, born just 17 days apart back in March of 1989. So there are a lot of correlations between Chris Sale and that man Sandy Leon.
It's really cool how that works out, right? And thinking about different parts of the world and how close they were to each other as far as when their lives actually started and how they ended up becoming synced up the way that they did.
Yeah, Sandy born in Venezuela back on March 13th of '89, and then Chris Sale down in Lakeland, Florida, March 30th of '89.
We never want to lose him, but I would not be surprised to see Sandy Leon managing this Boston Red Sox team at some point in his life.
And I asked Sandy about obviously leaving the Braves organization back in April, going to play in the Mexican League, and did he have the door fully shut? Did he think his major league time was over? And he said, look, I'm not gonna say 100%, but I thought it was about 80%. He still gave himself a 1 in 5 chance of getting back up, which I thought was pretty impressive.
And a called strike.
Previous pitch was called a strike. The batter's down.
Is he dealing with a bloody nose right now?
I think he is. Yeah, I was just looking at that.
Oh, is it?
Ball's overturned. The batter is awarded first base. Boston has 2 counts remaining.
Less than a tenth of an inch. That ABS review powered by T-Mobile. And Kiner Falefa, with cotton in his nose, trots down to first base.
You don't see that every day.
No, you see it on a basketball court. Guy takes an elbow, but not on the baseball diamond. Now Carlos Narvaez, the catcher, who did not get the start in the first 2 games of the series. It was Gasper, but Narvaez gets the call today.
A lot of juggling going on behind the plate right now in Boston as they're trying to figure out how they can get the best production, especially offensively, out of their catcher position.
Yeah, they were hoping Gasper could have a little bit of a better bat than Narvaez. The other catcher is Connor Wong, and Chad Tracy in the front office right now trying to push the right buttons for a team that is 8 games under 500. Well, Will Trader back there has been pretty spot on a lot of these close calls early.
Can't give him a hard time about that one that ended up getting overturned, right? I mean, less than what, a tenth of an inch.
Yeah, I thought it clipped the top, but as close as it could be. That one is in there, right at the knees. Second strikeout for Chris Sale.
Good bounce back after the first one that was probably just a little bit low. That one catching the very bottom of the strike zone. That good looking slider from Chris Sale.
And Sale is now 15 away from David Cone on the all-time list. Sale right now 28th strikeouts in Major League history. Cone sitting at 27th with 2,668. Bottom of the order, Durbin.
This is a guy they were hoping to get a lot more out of. It's still early. They know he's a good defender. You see the numbers with just a 163 batting average so far. Traded from the Milwaukee Brewers in exchange, and it was 6 players in total, including Monasterio. But Kyle Harrison, who is now pitching for the Brewers and absolutely going off. And it's been a lopsided trade so far here early between those two.
Kiner Falefa had left for second base, but he'll have to return. And when you talk lopsided trades here in Boston, as we were discussing yesterday, the fans instantly point to the man in the center of the diamond right now, Chris Sale, for Vaughn Grissom. And then Vaughn Grissom would peter out here in Boston, spent all of last year in AAA, and then get traded to the Angels, where he's now having some success. Out to right center. Kiner Falefa will head for third. Red Sox have him at the corners.
It's an impressive piece of hitting right here. It's 97 miles an hour from Chris Sale. It is elevated. And Durbin just pokes this thing not with a lot of exit velocity into right center.
So the Red Sox had 2 on in the first inning. Sale was able to strike out Monasterio. Now they've got 2 on here in the second, and he's going to face Jarren Duran at the top of the order.
So Durbin can run a little bit. 4 for 6 so far this season. Chris Sale's given up 5 stolen bases, 5 for 6 against him. But I think with the left-hander hitting, you probably like the idea of kind of staying at first and leaving the right side of the infield a little bit more open, with Matt Olson holding the runner.
He stays put. Slider away, 1-1. Boston had the 15 hits yesterday, 14 singles. The only non-single was the solo homer by the man at the plate now, Jarren Duran. But Sale gets ahead of him here. A ball and 2 strikes.
When you're facing Chris Sale, you're worried about the 4-seam fastball and the slider away. And he just threw him a dirty 2-seam fastball that had a lot of run on it and almost hit him.
Maybe sets up that slider away again.
So beautifully right now if he executes it. And you can probably even put it off the plate a little bit. You love when guys swing at those pitches in off the plate like that.
There you go. What execution by the veteran Sale. He got a strikeout to end the first. He does the same in the second.
Unbelievable work here. Great setting up by Sandy Leon and then finishing by Chris Sale.
Top of the third, late afternoon here at Fenway Park. Series on the line between the Braves and the Red Sox. Mateo leading off. He's the spotlight of our Yellowwood Bringing the Lumber feature. A couple of hits yesterday. And if you look at his career here at Fenway Park, 319. So he has enjoyed hitting here, has Jorge Mateo.
And he's been here a bunch, right? All those years, of course, playing with the Baltimore Orioles right here in the American League East. He's gotten a lot of experience, and it has gone well for Jorge Mateo.
The Braves need somebody to get to Peyton Tolley, because again, he went 8 innings, got the win in Atlanta against the Braves, and he's perfect through 2 with 3 strikeouts.
In those 8 innings that he had against the Braves, he only had 3 strikeouts in that game. He only had 6 swings and misses. He's got 9 already here this afternoon. Early evening, whatever you want to call it.
We adjust as it goes. We got 14 more minutes of late afternoon, okay, and then I think we're into the early evening portion.
I mean, my mind spinning when we have these like 4 o'clock starts and day night.
And Mateo deep out to left center. Nobody is going to get to this ball. And Mateo cruises into second base. And he continues to enjoy hitting here at Fenway.
Jorge Mateo very quietly has done a good job here for the Braves, and I think will give Walt Weiss a little bit more to think about because of how well he has played. Now that is a curveball that he gets down the middle, and this ball carries because he gets great backspin on it. It just kind of keeps going and going, and a beautiful piece of hitting there from Jorge Mateo.
First Braves hit against Tolley here today, and now Dom Smith, even with the lefty on the mound, gets the start. And for more on the DH, Dom Smith, and that one was close, but let's go down to Wiley Ballard.
Yeah, Brent, had a chance to ask Walt about the decision to start Dom against a lefty like Tolle. This is just the second time Dom has gotten a start against a left-handed starting pitcher. And he said, look, there's serious reverse splits for Peyton Tolle. Lefties have had far more success against him than right-handed hitters. And when I spoke to Dom about it, he said, look, there are times where facing lefty can be tough, no doubt. But on the flip side, they usually become two-pitch pitchers. And for Tolle on the mound, about 70% of the time against lefties, it's a four-seamer or a sinker.
Yep, so you're going to get a lot of fastballs, right? So it'll make some sense. Dom Smith is a good fastball hitter. You come into Boston, you have a series with 3 lefties. I figured they would pick a spot for him. It was just a matter of which lefty do you give him? Which one would he match up best, give him somewhat of a chance? And they believe Tolle was the one.
Speaking of that four-seamer, he's seeing a heavy dose of that here, 0-2.
And the other pitch that he uses an occasional curveball to the lefties, but it's the cutter after that at 21%, right? So some people will consider that cutter another version of the fastball. So really almost 3 different types of fastballs that you're mostly seeing.
Four-seam, four-seam, four-seam here. That one at 98.
And by the way, guys, today was one of those days Dom Smith arrived at the ballpark. He didn't think he was starting. He saw his name in the lineup card and said, okay, let's go.
Oh, interesting. I always felt like the guys knew the night before. Maybe not. I like that little bit of surprise. That's old school from Walt Weiss. As always, you'd let your catchers know at least. Like if you had the regular catcher and the backup, you'd let your starting catcher know the days that at least for him that he wasn't catching the next day. That if you want to have a soda pop or something after the game, you've earned it. Be ready to pinch hit, be ready to play the second half, but just so you know, you're not starting.
I'm sure back in the day some guys still went out and had a soda pop regardless.
Even if they were playing the next day.
Slow roller to the second baseman, Sogard. It will move Mateo to third, so a productive out for Dom Smith. A quick message from Truist.
Leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Truist. Learn how knowledge and care can work for you.
Well, the Braves have not scored since the 8th inning in game 1 of the series. Shut out yesterday, but chance to change that here with the infield in and Sandy Leon at the plate. This one is going to go foul. No one's going to get there.
So you got the great speed, obviously, with Mateo over at third base. No wild pitches this year for Tolle. That's probably not a surprise again because of how many fastballs he throws, right? It's not a lot of big breakers or a split that's going to be in the dirt very often, but you still always anticipate and look for that dirt ball.
No balls and 2 strikes to Sandy Leon, who was here 5 seasons from 2015 to 2019 with the Boston Red Sox. He got 97 by him. So first time through the order for Tolle. He strikes out 4, all swinging.
A little more swing and miss today than what we saw last time over his 8 in Atlanta. That's a good looking pitch. 97, but also on the corner, up and away.
6'6", 250 is Tolle, and he throws the ball like a guy who's 6'6", 250 out there with aggression.
And the other part, he's a plus extension guy, right? That last fastball, excuse me, they threw to Sandy Leon, 7 feet 6 inches of extension. Your average big leaguer is about 6.5 feet. So you're talking about a whole extra foot that he's getting out there. That is going to be up there with some of the tops in baseball.
When he was pitching in Atlanta, we discussed how he was a two-way star in college. Went to Wichita State his first 2 seasons, and as a sophomore there, in addition to a great pitching year, he hit .311 with 13 homers and 50 ribbies. Then he went to TCU and focused on pitching and became a second-round pick. And the Boston Red Sox have a good one.
And it's a reminder when everyone talks about Shohei Ohtani and say, why don't you just make your own two-way player? I mean, they didn't even want to do it at TCU. where certainly they probably could have used his offense, but they understood the focus on the pitching is more important.
I was reading about his fastball at TCU as a junior. The first season he really dedicated to pitching, he was only sitting 91, 92. I say only because now he's sitting well above that. But when he honed in on pitching and really refined his mechanics, that's when he started to get a lot of power in that left arm. He does walk Acuna, though.
And for me, that's the pace you want to be at. And I know it's a different time, and these kids are throwing so much harder, but a little bit of velocity and then picking it up when you're in college, picking it up when you're 20, 21 years old. For me, that's the ideal time.
Andrew Bailey, pitching coach. That'll give us a moment to show you Mauricio Dubon being our Georgia Natural Gas Greener Life Impact Player. So he has enjoyed facing the league that he used to be in, the American League. .299 in interleague play this year with 8 extra base hits and 13 ribbies.
There are less surprises these days, right, for guys with interleague play, whether it's because you played on an American League team or we see more and more of it, right? When that first started, a lot of guys were walking into ballparks they'd never been in before. And so I think there's a much bigger comfort level in interleague play for a lot of these players.
The advent of interleague play, you have to go all the way back to 1997. And this has been the Braves' most frequent opponent since then in the American League.
Good number right there for Mauricio Dubon. 2 outs, runners in scoring position, 10 for 22. Take one of those doubles right now. How about a wall ball double?
Boy, Tolle is just living with that four-seam fastball. Next pitch will be number 54. Another one at 97.
And what you really like to see is that at bat that we talked about so much in Colorado with Mauricio Dubon against Dollander, right? He got beat with upper 90s fastballs early, and then he went real short, no leg kick, got to the ball and hit that double down the right field line. It was a big one.
Broken bat, and it's foul. That came in on the hands at 98.
Well, if you know a guy is willing to go out there to try to get the velocity, that's where you go with it in, because it doesn't matter how short your leg kick is. That's going to be a difficult one to get to.
The rookie Tolle ready for another 0-2 pitch to the 8-year veteran Mauricio Dubon. Taking off for second, they will let Ronald Acuna Jr. have the bag. And now if you can poke one to the outfield, the Braves can take a 2-0 lead. We have a visitor on the third base line. Better be careful.
It's not where you want to be right now, and in fair territory.
This ball is hit out towards left. Duran over. He's got it, and the Braves strand a pair. We are still scoreless. Quite a few Braves fans here at Fenway Park watching Game 3 on gorgeous afternoon. We had a little rain before the game, about 2 hours prior to first pitch. The field was tarp, but thankfully the showers moved on. The tarp moved on, and all clear.
Who do you have to know to get one of those Braves Visions t-shirts?
Got to know somebody. Toward the corner, hooking, and this one is fair. Barely down there for Rafaela. Our view is blocked, and there is not much real estate to keep that ball fair, but Rafaela did, and he's got a double.
And he got aggressive early. First pitch slider. If you take a look at this, and you're just kind of hoping it would end up foul, but no, you're right. That one ended up being fair. Not a lot Mauricio Dubon could have done either way.
This is the most pitches through 2 innings that Sale had thrown. So now he's at 45 pitches here with no outs in the third and dealing to Abreu. And he's also had quite a few stressful pitches through 2 innings.
Yes, right. With traffic pretty much after the first 2 outs to lead off the first inning, had a couple of runners on. It was the second runner that got on in the second inning.
Abreu a bunt. Sale makes a great play to get the 1 out, but that does put Rafaela at third.
It's a really good play here by Chris Sale to get around this baseball. Right as a lefty, you got to get around it, plant the foot, pick it up barehanded, and fire an absolute strike over to first. This was really, really well done, and why he's got a Gold Glove.
Abreu catching everyone off guard, but Sale ready enough for the moment.
2 ways to look at it, right? You got a great strikeout pitcher in Chris Sale. You have a left-handed hitter who's hit lefties well. Maybe he's not comfortable in the at-bat. I know he had a double in that first one, but they give up an out.
So the Braves march the infield in with Contreras at the plate. Oh, Contreras gets hit by 98. He's got some words for Chris Sale as he jogs down to first base.
So he gets hit a lot because he gets pitched in a lot. And you see Matt Olson right now kind of talking to Contreras and letting him know, like, it's not appreciated, right? I don't know exactly what he said. Gets him in the tricep, look like just above the padding. There's 0 and 10 here in an 0-1 count. It's a weird thing to do to Chris Sale, quite honestly. I mean, I get it. Everyone, when you're on the field, they're equals, but you're looking at a couple of veterans and a future Hall of Famer. And Matt Olson, I think, sees that as a sign of disrespect.
After whatever was said between Olson and Contreras, it ended amicably, and I saw Contreras pat Matt Olson on the back. But yeah, it's not like you got a young rookie out there. That's Chris Sale.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that means he's untouchable and you go out and you say, oh, sorry. But
yep.
I don't know that that was warranted by Contreras. Showing bunts. Trying to safety squeeze. Monasterio bunts it foul.
So we had an issue earlier this year with the Brewers because there's been some history there. His time with the Cubs. I don't think Matty loved it. I don't think he loved the explanation either.
And good on Matt Olson for saying
100%.
something, right?
Not surprised at all, right? I think we know what the character is like of these guys in the Braves clubhouse.
And we can assure you nobody is more respected in that clubhouse than the lefty that's on the mound right now. Big 1-2 pitch to Monasterio. Fouled back. Sale has 3 strikeouts today. Monasterio was his first victim to end the first with 2 men on. There's 2 men on now here in the third. Ahead of it, another slider.
Chris Sale right now looking for that finishing pitch. Sure, ground ball double play would be nice, right? The infield is back here for the Braves with the 1 out, but the strikeout also plays really well, obviously, and not scoring or potentially scoring that run over at third base.
Two balls, 2 strikes, and the count runs full. Sale try to change up low. Talked yesterday about Monasterio and having a pretty low chase rate, pretty disciplined up there. And now the count is run full here at 3-2. And the at-bat continues.
Monasterio's done a good job of fouling off some pretty tough sliders in this at-bat. Again, we know that is a great finishing pitch for Chris Sale, but he has hung in there and kept this at-bat alive because of it.
And the guy who had to fight a long time during this big league opportunity, 9 years in the minors for Monasterio. Out of Venezuela. He's still fighting. Last 3 years with the Brewers before coming over in that trade CJ mentioned. He's trying to give his Red Sox crew the lead here in the 3rd inning. Sale struck him out. 97. Gets it by him. That is a big 2nd out.
Took him 10 pitches to do it, but reaching back, something he's so good at to finish off Monasterio in such a big spot. And for Chris Sale, this is historically something he has just been great at. We talk about it often. But how about this? Highest strikeout percentage all time with at least 1,500 innings pitched. Chris Sale still holding on to the lead. Pretty impressive. That is our Comcast business Defend the Mound, and nobody has defended it better when it comes to the strikeouts than Chris Sale.
He picked a great time for a strikeout right there. Now can he get one more out here facing Nick Sogard? Remember, he was the fastest to 2,000 strikeouts in Major League Baseball history, doing that in just over 1,600 innings. That was a marquee reach way back in 2019, right around the time all the injuries hit for Chris Sale here in Boston. But what a tenure it's been in Atlanta. Called strike. Looked like the changeup was there. 1-2.
Can't throw it in a better spot than that one. Down and away to a righty.
A one bouncer to Ozzie Albies, and Chris Sale works his way around trouble again in the 3rd. Back at his old home at Fenway Park. Well, it is Braves flash sale time. Watch your Braves take on the Pirates June 5th through the 7th. 33% off tickets in select locations. That means weekend tickets starting at $24. Go to Braves.com/flash sale. That is Jory Palmer, Senior Director of Marketing and Advertising for the Braves, making a last-minute trip to Fenway with her son. And she is so kind to us, wonderful at her job, and good to see Jory at the ballpark today.
And they picked a good one to come on, too, right? Obviously, this is always a fun trip to come to Boston, but we got great weather while we were here. This nice kind of fun 4 o'clock start. Get to see Chris Sale. Now we just need to see a series win to make Jory and her son happy.
We've hit the weather perfectly. They had a lot of rain this weekend, just like we did in Atlanta, but last 2 nights and then today, it's been chef's kiss. And there is something about this booth and how it sits over the field and looking out over the green monster on a day like this. It's pretty special.
I would agree. Absolutely.
But the Braves are looking for runs. Haven't scored since the eighth inning on Tuesday. Shutout yesterday.
By the way, we got our answer on what they were going to do in the outfield.
Go ahead.
The tarp is on over the seats in dead center field.
There you go.
So there's less fans, less capacity today for a 4 o'clock game compared to what you get for the night games. What'd you say, about 500 or 600?
It says 600, but actually kind of looks like more than that from here, but maybe not.
I guess if the sun is out when the game starts or whatever their cutoff time is, those seats are not available.
And you were telling that story on Tuesday as to why they do that.
So yeah, thinking about how way the sun comes in, reflection, like how much is it really in the eyes of the hitters? Probably not much, but all it takes is one David Ortiz type to complain at some point.
Well, Matt Olson saw that baseball pretty well. A leadoff single.
Well, Matty's done a nice job against lefties, and he's got a tough one here this afternoon in Tolley. Now, just a base hit here, but he's got 5 home runs left on left this year. That is tied for the 5th most in baseball.
Second hit for the Braves against Tolley. Wiley, what do you have on the tarp out in center field covering those seats?
Well, I was talking to Sandy Leone, and look, we've been talking about shadows in baseball for hitters for 100 years, but Sandy really felt like this is one of the tougher ballparks on hitters when it comes to the shadows along with that tarp. So he was even more excited to catch Chris Sale on a 4 o'clock start here at Fenway.
Interesting.
So shadows, he said too, huh?
Yeah,
wow.
he said
I guess
it was
when the sun comes in.
exactly. Yeah, right now we've got some cloud cover. I'll report back when the sun comes out.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Wiley.
Time it better next time. It was out a little while ago in our defense.
Ozzie down the line. It's fair. It'll rattle down into the corner. And the Braves in business. Second and third. Nobody out.
Well, we showed you those numbers for Ozzie, what he has done against lefties so far this year. And he gets on top of a 96-mile-an-hour fastball at the top of the zone, the four-seamer, which has been such a good pitch for Tolley this year and this afternoon, but ripped into the corner by Ozzie Albies.
Well, both teams have been flirting with putting runs on the board. Nobody's been able to, but this is the best chance of the game for either side. Bouncing in, Narvaez stops it. 1-0 to Riley. Nowhere near. So Tolley laboring a little bit here.
I'll say this for what it's worth, and watching Chris Sale at 37 and kind of tracking the velocity. Obviously, both of these guys throw really hard, but I feel like Chris Sale maintains it a little bit better so far here this afternoon, and he's thrown a lot more pitches, right? And the way that is he's gotten a little bit later in deeper innings, where Chris Sale can still keep that velocity up with Tolley. Like we've seen it come down a couple of ticks.
Let's take a look at our Papa John's key ingredients before this 2-0 pitch to Austin Riley. So after a loss this season, which the Braves are facing here today, they have been excellent. 14-4, trying to get to 15-4 this afternoon.
Everything you're looking for, right? Runs, not letting them up, keeping opposing teams off the bases.
The Braves have only one 3-game skid this year, and that was back in early April. So the response to losses has been good and swift. After the mound visit, Tolley evens things up 2-2. Riley with a swing and a miss. Now they'll throw down to first, but no damage done.
Well, as I talk about the velocity, he reaches back, and this one is at 98 miles an hour in and out of the glove behind home plate for Narvaez, but that was a good fastball.
Twice that he's been able to get Riley swinging. 5 Ks now for Tolle, the 23-year-old rookie. And here's Harris. Bouncer, stopped by Sogard, and the Braves are not going to score the run. Olson went about a third of the way down the line, but stopped and went back.
I think for Matt Olson wanting to see this ball through to make sure before he had made that decision. You don't want to run into an out at home. That's a good play over at second base. I think it's also a smart base running play for Matt Olson.
So the runner's still at second and third. Now here's Mateo. He had that double to left center in the third inning. Off the glove of Tolle. Sogard barehands it, but the throw is off target. And the Braves draw first blood.
Did that only hit his glove?
It got some part of him.
There's some conversation going on right now. I think the dugout wondering the same thing I was wondering, because I thought I heard something like it hit a part of his body, but he's saying it's fine. I thought it hit him in the head for a second. No, it was glove. And you see him go down like that. I think it probably lent itself to a little bit more of that concern. But how about Mateo with another base hit, assuming he gets a base hit on that, which he should. Once the ball's deflected, you really can't give anybody an error, even though they had a play. It was a barehanded play, and the throw was offline.
So 1-0. Yeah, that one scorched off the bat. 108 from Mateo back to the mound to give Atlanta the lead. And boy, Jorge Mateo now 4 hits in the series and pretty limited action as he just continues to produce when Walt Weiss calls his number. Ozzie down at third. Dom Smith, little blooper, shallow left, and he drops it in beautifully. It's like a pitching wedge at the golf course on a Thursday afternoon for Dom Smith to make it 2-0.
And that left-on-left move paying off for Walt Weiss and where he put Dom Smith in the order, right? Again, it's a tough at-bat, but you feel like you're going to get contact. He got contact in the first inning. He gets contact here, even though he didn't hit it that hard. I should say his first plate appearance. It was enough, and he hit it in a great spot. And right here, after it was bobbled, Tommy Watkins was actually trying to send Mateo home, but he ended up not going, and then probably ended up being a smart play.
So you had Mateo hit at 108 off the bat. Dom Smith a 68-mile-per-hour blooper. Both of them worked perfectly. And a conference on the mound.
I got a great nugget for you, what we were just talking about with the center field bleachers. If a night game gets rescheduled to a day game, they actually hand out black T-shirts for people to wear out there.
No way.
That you have to wear, yeah, because they already sold the seats. So they're not going to take your tickets away, but in order to sit in them, you have to be either wearing really dark clothing or they will give you a black T-shirt to wear during the game. How about that?
Problem solved. Interesting.
Hope they have my size.
Sandy Leon comes up swinging. It'll get out of play. Interesting game so far. I mean, Chris Sale has had traffic in every inning. Red Sox stranded 2 in the first, 2 in the second, 2 in the third. And the Braves stranded 2 in the third as well. But now, here in the fourth, coming through with a pair of 2-out hits.
Sandy tried to call time there, couldn't get it. I thought we were going to get our Bo Jackson moment. He was going to go deep right there, but he was asking for time, but waited too late.
Now he gets time. The other thing, and you were kind of mentioning it, but Tolley only threw 26 pitches through 2 innings, so he's thrown 50 pitches now since the start of the third. So his pitch count is climbing quickly. This one just to the right of us. That almost went in the Braves radio booth. But it hit off the facade underneath instead.
The other thing about this matchup between Chris Sale and Peyton Tolley, now that the pitch counts are getting up on both of them, there's this also weird little sense of pride of outlasting the other guy. No matter how long it is. If it's 4 2/3, just you want to outlast that other guy. You're never pitching against the other pitcher, but it's there. It's in the back of your mind a little bit. Did he balk? Well, I guess he stepped off and threw.
Yeah, no balk.
Mateo dancing around down there. There's some screaming from the Braves dugout, but Peyton Tolley played it right. Now, if he'd thrown a pitch, it would have counted as a pitch or potentially a balk, but because he stepped off first, now he technically becomes an infielder and can do whatever he wants.
It almost worked for Mateo. Sandy Leon is climbing that pitch count a little bit more for Peyton Tolley.
And I like seeing the reaction from Tolley, right? Getting a little bit worn out right now. He feels like maybe Sandy Leon is the guy that he should be able to overpower. And now all of a sudden Sandy's making it tough on him.
By the way, the wind has picked up here. It's blowing pretty good from left to right at Fenway. Did he go around? He did, says Jansen Visconti. But the Braves get 2 to grab the lead.
So we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Braves leading it 2-0. I want to bring you back to that play and what Walt Weiss and the bench was a little bit upset about, as you're going to see Jorge Mateo take off, and then whether or not did Peyton Tolley step off cleanly. It was close. We watched it a couple of times during the break. That right knee looked like maybe it flexed first. Too close to call, and so something you can't review and you got to let it go. But not a bad idea at all. Some aggressiveness there from Jorge Mateo and try to get a young pitcher flustered.
But the Braves break out of their drought and get on the board after being shut out yesterday, and now Chris Sale back out there. Kiner Falefa walked back in the second. And that wind is, I mentioned it, but it's really picked up here over the last 10 minutes.
Any clues on which way it's actually going, so we can see the flag in center field kind of blowing to right field. I'm sure you get some kind of swirl here. I'm not familiar with the wind patterns. Statcast is pretty good sometimes at showing us that.
But at the moment, I think you'd really have to poke it to left, especially left center, to get it out of here.
Yeah, I feel good about that part for sure. Wondering too, some of the pop-ups maybe in foul territory in the third base side. Is that wind making its way around, or is it just knocking them down?
Kiner Falefa still has the cotton in that right nostril from the nosebleed. He's had that in there for a few innings now.
Think he changes it out, or is it just drenched in blood?
I hope you change it, because you would think the bottom would be showing some red right now if he wasn't. We still don't know what caused it.
It almost looks like a piece of gum.
I hope it's not that. Those nose hairs are in for a rough evening. That's 2 walks for Kiner Falefa, 3 on the day for Chris Sale.
Well, now you can start to see some of those shadows that Wiley was talking about here for Sandy Leon. You have, as I say it, of course, the sun goes behind, but I promise 5 seconds ago, Chris Sale was in the sunlight, and then you had the catcher, pretty much all of home plate in that big circle were in the shadows.
Michael Harris has this one. Narvaez 0 for 2. A message here from Valvoline.
Silence your oil change anxiety with a quick, reliable stay-in-your-car oil change.
To your point, it looked like that one got knocked down a little bit to center field as Michael kind of readjusted and realized that ball was not going to carry as much as he originally thought.
It's kind of blowing in a little bit now. Sometimes it's going across the diamond, sometimes in. That one is inside the line off the bat of Durbin. Having trouble getting it, Dubon, so Kiner Falefa is going to come home and score. And Durbin gets to third, and it's 2-1.
Doesn't happen too often, but Mauricio Dubon had some issues with this ball in the corner. It was a changeup. Durbin was in front of it. Now, you're always wondering which way is it going to bounce. It ends up hitting the harder part of the base of the wall, right, where it's cement and not padding. And then he almost panicked a little bit, where he tried to do too much, come up and make a great throw. He overthrew it. That allowed Durbin to go to third base.
90 feet away is the tying run. Infield in for Atlanta. And Duran, who's been swinging a hot bat at the plate. And just like that, we are tied.
Two-seam fastball here with some run for Chris Sale. Probably wants that a little bit further in or just down. And instead it's up enough for Duran to handle it.
There's now 7 hits for Jarren Duran in this series. And multiple runners allowed in every inning for Chris Sale. He was able to get out of the jam in the first, second, and third, but unfortunately not here in the fourth. That one was coming in to Rafaela. He got a piece of it. Yeah, Rafaela, I thought, got a piece of it. What's
yeah? They call it foul tip.
No, Will Traynor says no.
Oh, he put his arms up. Did they say it hit him? Oh, dead ball.
It did hit him, yes.
So it wasn't a foul tip. It's just that it hit Monasterio, so that makes it a dead ball.
So the swing and a miss with the ball hitting you. And now here comes Chad Tracy.
I'm sorry, did I say Rafaela? Did I say Monasterio?
But Rafaela.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, this is pretty simple. He swung at it. It hit him. The ball's dead. Nobody can advance. And he's out. By the way, that was strike 3.
Yeah, that's strike 3.
Out.
He's out. That's where he was arguing with Will Traynor and trying to say, hey, I'm not out yet. I got a piece of it. But clearly, as you saw the replay, he did not. The ball got him, but he did not get the ball.
So when I saw the hands go up for Traynor behind home plate, I thought he had called foul ball when we saw the runner trying to advance. But no, he's saying dead ball, and you're out. That's a good call by him in real time.
Yeah, so Duran stays right there at first base. 2 outs, and now here's Abreu. A double and a sac bunt for Wilyer Abreu so far today against Sale. Down to the count, 0-2. Abreu, 26 years old, 4th big league season, coming off consecutive Gold Gloves in right field here at Fenway Park. Not an easy thing to do. And he's down on strikes. The slider takes care of him to end the 4th. But now we're all tied at 2. Saturday, June 6th against the Pirates. The Braves are going to host the first ever Atlanta Braves Foundation Day. For more details, go to Braves.com/ABF Day. They will celebrate communities across Braves country, spotlighting a lot of positive things going on. So Braves.com/ABF Day.
Nice. A shooter to get out to Nantucket to get the video for us. Beautiful.
Shooter goes everywhere. Great Sean Farnham. Look at that. That's art. That's Rockport, where Sean Farnham got the footage.
Sure.
Up and in to Ronald Acuna Jr. 3-0.
So the one thing about Tolley, and it hasn't happened today, he has been incredibly efficient, averaging just 13.5 pitches per inning so far this year, but they haven't pushed his pitch count. That's a bad swing there from Ronald. That is a 3-0 sinker that is off the plate, trying to get ahead of a fastball, but didn't recognize the location. But Tolley threw 93 pitches in his first game of the year. He hadn't gotten the 90 since. He may not make it through this inning.
He threw 26 combined in the first and the second innings, and then he had a 27-pitch third, a 28-pitch fourth, and now he walks Acuna here to start the 5th. So Guerrero is in the bullpen getting ready.
The fastball whisperer.
Yeah, we'll have to listen in to the noise that he makes when he pitches.
Some good ASMR there.
You see that all the time now. People talk about ASMR.
Yeah.
5 years ago, I don't think you ever heard of that.
And I do think it's, I don't know, genetics, how you're built something about it where it's more effective on others than it is on some. I like it. I probably don't use it enough, but I feel like I'm one that is cool.
Way high. Again, think of the wind here. There was almost a collision between Contreras and Dubon. One away.
Have you ever tried to listen to it or do it or anything like that?
I haven't.
Yeah, you find out. Just lay there, put it on. Whether it's the ones where they talk really loud. I don't like the talking ones, but all just the different sounds. Like maybe like running your hands over a brush or whatever it may be. It's pretty neat.
And you do it when you're just trying to lay down
Relax,
asleep.
and you can there's like a physical feeling I think that you can feel if you're built for it. I don't know what the right terminology is, but it's pretty fascinating.
There's some good ASMR here at Fenway Park.
You like that sound we pick up on our mics sometimes where you get a player with his metal spikes walking through the dirt, right? That's some good baseball ASMR.
Speaking of the anti-ASMR, I was watching an interview with Peyton Tolley from a few weeks ago, and they asked him his biggest pet peeve, and he said the sound of a fork scraping across a plate.
Oh, really?
And I thought, you know what? I think I agree with him on that. That is a terrible, terrible sound. This is going to hit the upper deck here at Fenway Park, 2-2. It's like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Two-two game, 2-2 count. 92 pitches so far for Tolley. Both Sale and Tolley have had to work hard today. But he does strike out Matt Olson. 7 Ks now for Tolley, and that's going to be his final pitch. The Red Sox turn to the bullpen here in the top of the 5th. Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by Comcast Business. All-in connection and protection your small business can rely on. No one does business like Comcast Business. By Georgia Power. Score big savings at georgiapower.com/tips. And also by Chevrolet, proud partner of the Atlanta Braves. Little flavor around Boston and near Fenway Park. And that's where we are here, the 5th inning with a pitching change. So Tyron Guerrero, saw him the other day, and now he is here in game 3 of the series.
Gave up a couple of runs, if you remember, the Michael Harris home run to center field in game 1 of this series.
That was a low pitch that Harris drove over the center field wall. An impressive at bat in that Braves 7-6 victory.
It is mostly two-seam fastballs, and they are high velocity, averaging 99 so far this year. It's a frustrating ending, I think, to that outing, though, for Tolley. 94 pitches, so 1 more than his season high. But I look at a guy like that. He's a young, big, strong kid, and eventually you're going to want him to make big pitches for you in October and really kind of push through it. I think I'd give him one more hitter to take a shot at it to get through 5 innings.
Ozzie slaps it to the left side and beats it out. Durbin did everything he could, but it's an infield single for Ozzie Albies.
Good hustle by Ozzie, right? He gets himself down in an 0-2 count, a little bit of weak contact here, but the way that the infield is set up plays perfectly for him, and a little bit of a longer exchange there for Durbin, and then throw is also offline. So the combination of those two things gave Ozzie just enough time to beat that out.
Contreras dropped the ball at the end anyway, so now runners at first and second. And Austin Riley, who struck out twice when facing Tolley today, now gets to see Guerrero. The 6'8" righty deals, and he deals a fastball at the knees at 100 miles per hour. Ronald takes off for third. Well, he's going to get in there easily. Guerrero just wasn't paying any attention to it.
Smart play, and you love the kind of pressure that's going to put on a guy who does not have a lot of big league time, right? Great read by Ronald, and now Ronald's going to be facing him kind of right there, and so has that opportunity to kind of serve as another distraction. And because you have Austin Riley hitting, Durbin's going to play a little bit deeper. Ronald could take advantage of that with a little bit of a bigger lead and keep an eye on anything in the dirt, especially that slider.
Look out, Ronald Acuna Jr. He had to jump out of the way. Thankfully, that ball did not hit him.
But the heart rate went up instantly.
A karate kick over there. That's actually pretty impressive. Toward the middle, but cut off by Sogard, and he throws on to first. Stranded at the corners. We're halfway home in game 3 of the series, and we're all even.
Tie scores. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Time to go below the surface with Georgia Aquarium and taking a look at the first 10 starts year by year for Chris Sale. This has been the best of the group throughout his entire career. He came in today with that 1.89 ERA. His 2 best years have been here with the Atlanta Braves, which of course we know this is where he wants to play for the rest of his career, and why not? He's been great here. But kind of amazing at his age, 37 years old. 10's a nice number. First 10 starts of the season have never been better from an ERA standpoint than they have this season. Now, strikeout's a little different.
And the first batter he faces here in the bottom of the 5th, Wilson Contreras singles to left. Remember last time Contreras was up, Sale hit him with a pitch. Contreras said a couple of words to Chris Sale on his way down to first base.
Elevated here at 94 miles an hour from Chris Sale. I had to go back and look, but when I was looking at that number, something that jumped out. He had 100 strikeouts. There might have been a few more, like 101 or something in his first 10 starts one year when he was with the White Sox. I'm like, that's what you're averaging 10 strikeouts per game for your first 10 of the year, averaging.
Unbelievable.
We got excited when Martin Perez had his first 10 strikeout game the other day of his career. Chris Sale was averaging that his first 10 starts one season.
And thinking about that ERA, I mean, the last 7 starts for Sale coming into today, just 6 earned runs. He just had that one bad start earlier in the year. Outside of that, everything has been really solid for Sale. Talked about his time with the White Sox. Of course, that's where it began for Chris Sale. Traded to Boston after the 2016 season. Everything here in Boston started so swimmingly. Obviously, the top of the mountain was that 2018 World Series title. And then in 2019, after he signed a 5-year, $145 million deal, that's when the injuries started to line up for Sale. And it was a marred tenure the rest of the way before coming to Atlanta and reclaiming a spot as one of the best pitchers in baseball. Got a 2-2 pitch coming here to Monasterio. And that is a called strike. Both teams have both challenges. It looked like Monasterio thought about it, but he does not challenge.
Good looking slider here, backdoor, probably caught the corner, maybe just off. Monasterio just kind of looking dumbfounded. By the way, right before that pitch was thrown, Contreras threw his arms up in the air as if to try to signal to Monasterio what pitch was coming. He's fooling around with Chris Sale here a little bit this afternoon.
And he was the guy on Tuesday that we saw out there at second base.
He went full, like he called a field goal that was good right before that strikeout.
So you've transitioned to tonight.
Yeah, tried to. It's still pretty sunny out.
Yeah, it's 5:50. Might have to go with evening. Wind is blowing this away from the field. And Ronald having some fun with the fan over there.
Good look at the shadows now, and a little bit of what we talk about. See the black tarp that's in center field and how it's kind of lit up, right? So if that had a bunch of fans with lighter shirts, that's where it could be somewhat of a problem.
Pitch number 90. And Sale locates it. 98 still. Sun won't set until 8:11 tonight, so still a couple hours of daylight here in Boston. Goodbye. 99. Sale really gassing up Sogard for his 8th strikeout.
That is incredible. 91st pitch of the early evening here in Boston for 37-year-old Chris Sale, and it's 99 miles an hour.
Little something extra to make the Red Sox fans extra angry in what they lost here in this southpaw. And then he shows 79 on the slider, drops 20 miles per hour to Kiner Falefa.
So with the pitch count getting up here for Chris Sale, and think about last night's ball game with Carlos Carrasco and how important that is now coming into play, where Walt Weiss could go to some of these bigger arms early in the game, do it a little bit more aggressively with Chris Sale getting ready to throw number 93.
That's a good point. Carrasco ate the last 4 innings in that 8-0 defeat last night. Let's see if Chris Sale has one more strikeout in the tank.
And of all the hitters, this may be the one he wants the most after walking Isaiah Kiner Falefa in the 7-hole twice today.
Runner heading for second. Beautiful strike from Leon, and they get Contreras. So Sale won't get another strikeout. But that will end the 5th.
Nice job here by Sandy Leone. He gets a good pitch to handle. Elevated fastball that was at 99. And then he throws a missile down to Ozzie for the easy tag out of Contreras.
Atlanta Braves baseball is presented by Truist. If Ozzie stood on stilts, that would be him out there outside of Fenway Park. 2-2. Both teams getting a pair of runs in the 4th. Now we go to the top of the 6th. Danny Coulombe, the 36-year-old lefty, is on for Boston.
We saw him already once in this series, and for Coulombe, doesn't overpower you with the fastball. He's got a 2-seamer, sits at 90, cutter sweeper, curveball, 4-seamer once in a while. You can see those numbers, kind of even splits on the batting average side, lefty versus righty.
Harris lays down a bunt, and he's going to get a single out of it. Surprising Durbin. And Michael with his first hit today.
That's a beauty right there. Really nice job by Michael, right? You get kind of a tough lefty, unique way that he throws. Go ahead and take a shot. First pitch here, that fastball right down the middle. And this was a great bunt.
And the leadoff man, a potential go-ahead run at first base. And now Mateo's had a great game. He shows bunt.
Small ball is back.
Yeah, the Braves have really showcased the bunt this year. And it has worked extremely well, especially in big times for Atlanta.
Surprised when Ha-Seong Kim had that safety squeeze that they did not count that as a sacrifice.
Oh, they didn't?
No. Clearly it was.
Speaking of that, from Ha-Seong Kim, when he had the RBI on that bunt, which was Friday, it was the Braves' 3rd RBI bunt of the season. The Braves tallied 3 bunt RBI in the last 6 seasons combined.
I believe it. This team has not bunted very often.
That just shows you the difference.
You pick your spots, right? It doesn't mean that you're sold out to the bunt. It's the most important part of your offense, but it is still a strategy that you can use at the right time.
And Coulombe misses on 4 straight pitches, so 2 on, nobody out. Mateo has reached all 3 times. He's driven in a run. And Dom Smith, who drove in a run in the 4th inning, now to the plate.
So play manager here, right? Have a little bit of fun right now. Dom Smith got the start against the lefty. Gets another lefty now. You have Eli White. You have Ha-Seong Kim. Would you bring the right-hander in? It is only the 6th inning, but it's a big moment. Would you bring one of those guys in to lay down a bunt?
Dom Smith squares.
I am interested in Dom Smith's sack bunts in his career.
Go to the tape.
Hopefully the internet machine is working pretty well.
This time he was going to swing. He did not offer it that pitch. It's 2-0.
That's right. He has one this year. He has one of the technically 2 that the Braves have. And that was the first of his career.
And Chad Tracy asking if they can challenge that.
You're not allowed to challenge a foul tip.
As a foul tip.
That's not a. You can't challenge a foul tip, can you? Yeah. You can argue about it. You can ask about it. You can ask them to ask another umpire about it.
Well, they're going to get together.
See.
Yeah. That's a break for Atlanta.
Dom Smith had a guilty look on his face as he was kind of looking in the dugout a little bit.
But not able to challenge it, so it's a 2-ball, no strike count. Chad Tracy back to the dugout. And now Coulombe is struggling to find the plate, so he walked Mateo on 4 pitches, 7 straight balls now, and he's threatening to walk him loaded. He finds the zone with a sinker.
And it has been a lot of innings, just 10 so far this year, but the walk rate to lefties has been high. 2 of the 20 that he has faced, a little bit high, gets you 10%, and the strikeout rate low. It's been better against righties when it comes to swing and miss and throwing strikes.
Nowhere near. See what Chad Tracy does. Bases loaded. Just a golden opportunity here for the Braves. And Eli White has grabbed a bat. Looks like he is going to hit for Sandy Leon.
Well, it's a matter of whether or not they have one of those right-handed pitchers ready, right? He's faced his 3 batters, hasn't gone well, so they can make the change. Just a matter of whether or not they have an arm that's available right now. I think this walk, they took as much time as they possibly could, right? You wait until the hitter comes all the way up, then you start to take your walk, but clearly he's ready, because if he needed more time, he could have given it to him.
2-2 in the 6th. Will the Braves change that? We're about to find out when we return to Fenway Park.
They don't know which one it is. One of these guys.
Don't miss a moment the rest of the season with Braves.tv. You can stream the rest of the year for under $80. Visit Braves.tv for details and to start streaming today. However you're joining us, we appreciate you spending your Thursday evening with us. Brandon Gordon, C.J. Nitkowski, Wiley Ballard, and now Greg Weissert has joined the party. He's the arm that is coming on out of the pen here with the bases loaded.
Yeah, and I think Mike Yastrzemski is going to come out and pinch hit, and it makes some sense here. So you end up burning Eli White. You take a look at the numbers. The batting average is one thing. It sticks out at 348 for the left-handed hitters. But how about this? 21 strikeouts on the season for Weissert. 20 to righties, 1 to lefties. That's it. He has struck out just 1 of the 26 left-handed hitters that he has faced this year. And so that's good for a 4% strikeout rate. League average is 22. And so I kind of wonder, when I saw Eli had disappeared, I'm like, well, you go to a lefty here, and that's exactly what Walt Weiss is going to do.
So an interesting day for Eli White. He registers in there. He never takes a swing, never sees a pitch, and now Yastrzemski.
Skip the shower. Straight to the bus tonight.
But for Mike Yastrzemski, had the walk-off May 15th against the Red Sox in Atlanta, double to left center field, and now he's got a chance here in the 6th inning at Fenway Park to give the Braves the lead. Carl Yastrzemski's grandson at the plate. Swinging at the first pitch and fouling it back.
It's the right move, not just because of the numbers, but Weissert, for me, when I watch him, I don't know how righties ever get a hit off of him. His sweeper is really nasty. He's got great movement on his 2-seam fastball.
So that's why Yastrzemski is called upon here. 0-1 pitch. And a swing and a miss at the changeup. Yastrzemski, 10 games here as a player. He said to me he's probably been here over 100 times if you count all the games he attended as a kid with his family, with his grandfather. Said his most memorable game here was his first as a player with the Giants back in 2019 when he had a homer and a ground rule double. Trying to make another memory here with Atlanta, but he fouls away an 0-2 pitch.
And right now what the Red Sox are doing is they're playing their middle infield kind of halfway, a little bit up, maybe a little bit less than halfway. Part of that is because they can keep the runner close over at third, but give them that chance to potentially turn a double play, or if they want to take a shot at home. Remember, it's a force out, so a little bit of a different feel here the way they've got this lined up.
Sale got through 5. A lot of traffic, but kept it a 2-2 game. Braves trying to reclaim the lead. Up and in, 2-2. And that ball is low and away. So from 0-2 to 3-2. Mateo walked, Dom Smith walked to load the bases, and now here's a payoff pitch to Yastrzemski. And Yastrzemski draws a bases loaded walk to put Atlanta back in the driver's seat.
That's pretty incredible. 0-2, right? There was also one foul ball in there after the 0-2 count. And this wasn't even a competitive pitch. This was a really bad miss. 3-2 with the bases loaded.
Harris scores. Boos rain down at Fenway as the lineup card flips over. Ronald has also drawn a couple of walks today. There have been base runners all afternoon and evening on both sides for the Braves and the Red Sox. Ronald Acuna Jr. with a grand slam over the monster. He had been slumping. He had been fighting himself. This was crushed.
93 miles an hour, two-seamer right down the middle, and all home runs are not created equal. Ronald knew it as soon as he hit it and watched this ball sail over the green monster and nearly over everything, or maybe it did get over everything for that grand slam.
Think about this inning. Harris a bunt single, then 3 walks. And the first ball that goes out of the infield is a grand slam by Acuna to bust this thing open at 7-2.
So I'm looking down there. I'm looking at the monitor. I flinched pretty bad there. Right? That's what we talk about. Like, I got lucky yesterday because I was watching the hitter at the time. I'm locked into the monitor. I don't know where that ball is. That is a scary feeling.
Thankfully, it did not come in our booth. Well, how good did that have to feel for Ronald Acuna Jr.? Just his 3rd homer of the season. The troubles we mentioned earlier with a fastball, but he had no trouble with that pitch.
It's a weird spot to be in.
Dubon out towards Rafaela.
For Weiser, because of the stuff that he has, right? And he is not really a 4-seam fastball kind of guy. That's been the pitch where Ronald has struggled. You don't really want to spin him in the zone. And so he decides, let me try the 2-seamer. And that was a mistake. And a fun one for Ronald Acuna Jr.
And a kiss of the bat. And a 7-2 ball game. Olsen toward the monster. But this one on the warning track. And Ronald hit that into the wind as well.
That's a good point. And wind continuing to blow here, but he knew it. He knew it as soon as he hit it. It's got to be fun, right? You don't play here every day. Don't play here very often. But to go up over the green monster, he's homered here before, but he went opposite field into the bullpen in Fenway.
4th career grand slam, 417 feet. So the Braves scored 7 runs in game 1 of this series, winning at 7-6. They got shut out yesterday 8-0. But now after that slam by Acuna, 7 runs today in game 3 of the series for the Braves. Ozzie to left. How much does this have on it? And the wind knocks it down at the track. But this ball game changed with one swing of the bat.
And it was a swing from Ronald Acuna Jr. Not sure anybody could have used it more than our guy. Big bomb, 417. Grand slam, Braves up big.
Welcome into the Rooms to Go Lounge. I'm Charlie Culberson. If you get a chance, when you go into the first base gate in the old ticket booth, you'll see my relative Leon Culberson standing next to Ted Williams. That's it from the Rooms to Go Lounge. Back to you guys.
And there it is, Charlie. Of course, great Ted Williams, the 19-time All-Star here. Leon Culberson and Charlie, the connection. Who knew?
I didn't. I know now, though.
I appreciate Charlie looking suave there in the Rooms to Go Lounge.
Does he ever not look suave?
That's true.
It's pretty much every day. Every day, Charlie Culberson. Hair's perfect.
That's why we try to limit
great.
his on-camera time. 7-2 is the score after the Acuna slam. So that means Chris Sale could potentially get a win here. It's onto the bullpen and Tyler Kinley now in the 6th.
26 games on the season for Tyler Kinley, 3.5 ERA. And a fly ball pitcher, good strikeout rate at 26%. And that slider continues to dominate. 190 batting average against his slider.
And with Sandy Leon being pinch hit for, Chadwick Trump is now behind the dish for Atlanta. All day both teams were flirting with runs, base runners everywhere, and then Acuna dealt the biggest blow to give the Braves a 5-run cushion. Maybe still mimicking that swing. Mateo stops it, but he can't pick it up in time, and Kiner Falefa reaches to start the bottom of the 6th.
It's been on all 3 times today. A couple of walks and now this infield base hit, and he hasn't played regularly. It's been an interesting situation here with Isaiah Kiner Falefa. Good effort from Mateo. He was there. He knew he was going to have to hurry. He could not come up with a clean grip on the baseball. But Kiner Falefa signed a 1-year deal, $6 million. He's not an everyday player. This is not a competitive team. And he's starting to get it going here a little bit. And he's another guy that could end up somewhere else for a competitor and a contender who needs some help in the infield.
Yeah, he's now 9 for his last 18. And after his 3 RBI game on Tuesday, the media, which he has not talked too much here because he hasn't done much, they asked him how he's feeling. He said, I feel like I'm fighting for my career, scrapping every at bat. He said, I know that I'm getting older. My playing time has been cut here in Boston. You mentioned the contract he's got, but he's trying to turn it around the best he can.
He's still only 31 years old. I got to watch him as he came up through the Texas Rangers system. At one point they had him at catcher. He actually did a pretty nice job catching early in his career. Won a Gold Glove over at third base. He's got some really good versatility.
And he's from Hawaii. The Rangers drafted him out of Hawaii in high school in 2013.
Gives him a great nickname, Hawaiian Hustle.
And what about the flying Hawaiian, Shane Victorino? Thinking of guys from Hawaii. Tyler Kinley with a 1-2 pitch to Narvaez. He'll check down, and he went.
Thought that was a good call. We actually have a great view for check swings, who's right up above home plate. It looked like he went, and I'd say he did there too.
Narvaez checked himself, and
I think when you check yourself, it's like admitting guilt. Like, you know you went, or you feel like it's going to get called. I don't necessarily agree with that strategy for hitters.
Bottom of the order, Caleb Durbin. Let's welcome Wiley back into the broadcast.
Well, Brendan, you saw Tyler punch out Narvaez on that slider, and when Tyler went through those struggles the first half of this month, he's given up a lot of home runs. I asked him, were there any adjustments he made? He said, well, they went back and looked at some of the biomechanical video where you see those stick figures, and they noticed his stride had gotten a little bit too long. which in some ways you think, oh, it's a positive, more extension. Well, for Tyler, the key to his slider is how high his release point is. And because he was lunging so far out, he was having a tougher time trying to get his body on top of that stride foot. And so now he's been able to shorten that stride a little bit, and that slider's got that downer depth.
The slider here. You see the wind really knocking that ball down. Dubon had to come in to grab it.
So it's a great point. And as soon as Wiley started talking about the stride and saying that it was getting long, immediately I'm like, no, you don't want that when you're Tyler Kinley. And what you don't want to do, as much as we'll talk about extension, you pretty much want to be where your body wants to take you, right? You don't necessarily want to try to gain extension. It's going to put you in an unnatural position to throw the baseball. And, you know, going back early in my career, they would talk about shortening your stride on a breaking ball. No, we weren't measuring it by the way we can now with StatCast data, but you would count off your steps and know where you want to be. And sometimes you try to come back maybe a half a step so you could get out over front of your breaking ball. And if you start to overstride, that's a great pickup by the Braves and Tyler Kinley on the biomechanical side and saying, hey, your stride's been a little bit long. It makes total sense that you would start to have some issues with that plus slider he has.
He's trying to work his way out of that rough patch. Certainly, look, the Braves still believe very much in Tyler Kinley. And a solid 6th inning. He works around the leadoff single by Kiner Falefa. Back at Fenway Park, where we check out our cold hard fact, brought to you by Coors Light. The Braves and Red Sox shared this city from 1901 to 1952 until the Braves moved to Milwaukee. I mentioned it yesterday, but the Braves played some home games here during the 1914 World Series, where they swept the Philadelphia A's and started the 1915 season while they were building a new ballpark. And so a lot of history, of course, for the now Atlanta Braves in this city alongside the Boston Red Sox.
How much did you track that story that Ben was telling us on the bus today about the actual Red Sox? It's kind of fascinating, right, that it originally came from the Braves franchise, right, and the issues that they were having with actual Red Sox. Was it that the dye in them was kind of poisonous?
Getting into the skin of players, and it could poison your blood. Yes.
Yeah, and guys were getting sick, so they got rid of the actual Red Sox. And then for the Braves, right, the Braves got rid of their Red Sox, if you will. And fill me in where I've messed this up. I'm known to do it a few times. And then so the Boston team found a way, their owner, I believe it was, found a way to get the dye in the socks that was not going to be dangerous to players. And that's how they became the Red Sox?
Yes, and they switched to that name in 1908. Before that, they were the Boston Americans. File that under things you don't hear about in 2026.
Let's just hope everybody survived that okay. I mean, the idea that your baseball socks could get you sick, that's not something we're talking about in 2026.
Giovanni Moran is next up out of that bullpen. He strikes out Riley.
So that's the crazy thing, right? Could you imagine if the Braves, the Sox were fine? Would they have been the Atlanta Red Sox? Who knows? Sounds terrible right now, but
I know,
just because of where we gotten to.
Michael Harris, remember last inning, he had the bunt single down the third base line that started that whole rally. Puts this in the air deep to right. Abreu, track wall, and it is out of here. 13th of the season for Harris, second of the series, 8-2 Atlanta.
How about a series here for Michael Harris as he gets a cutter that was supposed to be down and away, instead up and in. It is our destined Fort Walton Beach trip around the bases. Michael takes a nice easy jog around the bases. Look out, Cookie. I might have to show him how you catch balls live in a game.
They have to battle the sun out there right now, though.
Everyone's got an excuse.
So Michael Harris had 4 hits on Tuesday, including a double and a 2-run homer to center. Now he's got 2 big hits today in game 3 of the series.
I think when Michael hit it, he thought maybe he had a chance, but he wasn't quite sure. And again, I'm not sure how the wind maybe affected or didn't affect that ball, but he did get enough.
Braves got 2 in the top of the 4th. Boston responded right back at the bottom of that inning with 2 off Sale. But the last 6 now belong to Atlanta. And this guy has had a great series and a great day. A double, an RBI single, and a walk for Mateo. The stretch after a couple more outs will be brought to you by Georgia Natural Gas. Payoff pitch coming to Mateo. You know, you look at Michael Harris's numbers at this point this year and compared to last year, I mean, it is just totally different. Everything has gone up. Everything's coming up roses for Michael Harris. Wiley did a great report pregame yesterday on that. And I want people to hear what Wiley had to say in case they missed it. So, Wiley, the ball's on the tee for you, partner.
Thanks, BG. Well, you know, for Michael, we've always known the talent is there, and I think for him, he came in obviously with more confidence with the way he finished last season. But you know, I was talking to Austin Riley about it, and he made this point. Look, we always think of Ronald Acuna Jr. when it comes to pure, unadulterated talent, right, when it comes to this Braves team. But he said Michael's right up there, and the swings we saw from him on Tuesday night, that left-on-left slider from Suarez, and then that big home run in the 9th inning after a couple of 100-mile-per-hour sinkers followed by a changeup beneath the knees. There's just not a lot of guys in this league who can handle that type of pitch with that authority. And the biggest takeaway I had from talking to Michael was, look, he knows his chase can be rather high, and you don't want to do that too much at this level. But for him, you know, some of those pitches that are typically chase outside of the strike zone, there's still pitches he can do a lot of damage on.
That was a great report. The best part was unadulterated. Wiley getting that in the broadcast. And Michael Harris with a solo shot to right to make it 8-2 Atlanta and send us to the stretch. Now 20-9 on the road, trying to get to 21-9 this season. Best road record in baseball. Our Toyota Trends feature. A lot of numbers to like away from Truist Park.
They're blowing away what really the expectations are for most contenders, which is try to be around 500, maybe a couple of games over on the road, take care of business at home, and you'll be in the postseason. Well, what this team has done on the road has been spectacular up to this point. With that 20-9 record, you see all those numbers, all of them the best in baseball.
Meanwhile, the Red Sox worst home record in baseball at 9-18. And the Braves have a comfortable cushion now, and Lopez is on for the 7th.
I'm going to change that because I thought Fuentes was coming in. There we go. I'm all locked into Didier Fuentes' numbers. It's Ronaldo Lopez. Thank you, BG.
It's Ray Ray.
I think I got it in my mind. I was trying to play it out with Walt. Once they scored that many runs, I'm like, all right, well, where are you going to go? Maybe it's not going to be all the big dogs, but Fuentes is a multi-inning guy. But, of course, Ronaldo Lopez has been a great multi-inning guy as well.
So you think if this stays 8-2, just keep Lopez out there?
So every time this has happened, I've wondered about him potentially going 3 innings, and it hasn't happened, right? So I think you would like to get at least 2 out of him and then go from there and see how it goes. Anything you can do to keep, again, the big arms right where they are, which is in the bullpen the rest of the day, would be great.
Good start for Lopez. Rafaela flies out.
And I mentioned this last time, too. I think for Lopez, it becomes important that he potentially can show you those 3 innings because he does not want to get too far away from that starter stamina. I don't know if when a spot is going to open up again in the rotation, but you just don't want him to be so far off where the phrase they use is getting deconditioned, right? Going in the bullpen from 5-6 inning ability to only throwing 2 most of the time.
Thinking more about the Red Sox here at home. They have not won a series here at Fenway Park since April 6th through the 8th when they took 2 of 3 from the Brewers. That's how rough it's been at Fenway for Boston. And they're down 8-2 with 2 down here in the 7th as we provide you with this message from Zaxby's.
How giant are Zaxby's giant wraps?
So giant, they need their own zip code.
Who's got the sauce?
Zaxby's.
Eventful day for Contreras. A walk, got hit by a pitch, exchanged words with Chris Sale after that hit by pitch, and then he had a single in the 5th, but he tried to steal second and he got thrown out. I say exchange words. Chris Sale didn't say anything back to Contreras. Contreras just barked at Sale a little bit. And now that one comes up, and I think it might have got him on the bat. Yes. Mateo is there. Soft liner and a quick 1-2-3 inning for Lopez.
The Braves are celebrating all sports this season with the crossover jersey giveaway series, and just in time for the big event coming to Atlanta this summer. The new jersey giveaway is the Braves soccer jersey. It's going to be on June 17th, presented by SeatGeek. You can visit Braves.com/promos to purchase your tickets, or you can be right here in Fenway and be the first to get. I wanted to throw it out the window, but I didn't do it.
You never looked better than when that jersey was covering your face.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Those are really cool, though.
They are.
That's the first time I'd actually seen it. I knew we were doing that, but those are awesome.
Oh, that's right. You were not with us in Miami when we did that every day.
Yeah, that big event. 8 matches of that big event will be in Atlanta in June and July. So come get yours at Truist Park on the 17th of June.
By the way, so the TV side, Lou Merlone, who brought his name up a couple of times, longtime player. He actually played in the same conference in college. He went to Providence. I went to St. John's. Does a really nice job. Been here for a long time. So when they were in town, like I do with every broadcaster that comes in, I let them know, hey, we got an espresso machine. I do that because, one, I want to offer them good coffee if they need it. And two, there's Lou Merlone, I want you to put an espresso machine in your booth so we come visit you. We can also have good coffee. He says, we got no room. We don't even have a fridge. He goes, but do you like oysters? Well, yeah, sure. I like oysters. What does that have to do with any of this conversation? I'll bring you guys oysters one day. And sure enough, he shucked his own oysters today in the home TV booth and brought a bunch over to us. So thank you to Lou Merlone for doing that. And nobody around the league is going to do anything like that for us again. That's a different kind of tradition. I just wanted a good cup of coffee.
And he set them on ice. He had the lemon wedges there. So thanks, Lou. Very kind, very hospitable here in Boston. Yeah, I was most impressed that he was shucking the oysters in the booth before the game.
So he said that, I guess, earlier in his shucking career, if there is such a thing, that he did cut himself. But his wife got him some super duper gloves, the ones you're supposed to wear that you cannot penetrate with a knife. And now he's got his system down.
Previous pitch was called a strike. The batter's challenge.
It's been a while for a Ronald challenge, right? He came out pretty hot early in the season.
Confirmed the pitch is a strike. Atlanta has 1 challenge remaining.
You know, we're going to let that slide because of the grand slam in the 6th, Ronald. Hit the slam over the monster in left center that made it 7-2, and then Harris with a homer last inning. This time a bouncer to third, and Acuna retired.
And the other thing I wanted to tell you today, too, we had all that ice cream talk, and Cold Stone was closed. Probably a better thing that it was closed last night or the other night coming back from the game. I was coming back from breakfast today, and I'm like, you know what?
Did you think about it?
Back from breakfast, like, I'm going to do it because it's right on the walk. And so I got near the ice cream shop because when you and I walked home last night, the ice cream shops were slammed. The lines were too long. We weren't going to do it. I'm like, am I really going to have Cold Stone Creamery after breakfast? Yeah, I am. And I got over there. It was 10:51.
They open at 11?
They open at 11. I'm like, all right, well, how much of a degenerate am I that I'm going to stand outside their store for the next 9 minutes waiting for them to open? I said, I had too much pride. I walked away, and I didn't do it. But I thought about it.
I love the thought of you outside the door as the 19-year-old comes to open the store.
Leaning in on the glass,
Yes.
looking in.
I'll have a triple scoop, please.
That's finally had some pride that kicked in and said, what are you doing? Get back to the hotel.
Well, I'm disappointed in you. I appreciate the thought.
Now, Ed gave us a good recommendation about, we'll have an hour and change before the bus leaves. He said there's a great ice cream spot right outside the ballpark.
Yeah, Van Leeuwen, they just opened it. Might have to go over there.
I'm glad you got the name right. He did not know what the name was. He said Van Lowenstein. That is not it.
No. Speaking of ice cream, that's the way to do it right there. Out of the helmet you get to take home.
So I did have some in press dining today because they have the soft serve. And I just, there's 3 sections, right? It's chocolate, it's swirl, it's vanilla, but they're not marked. So I'm rolling the dice. I want vanilla. Sure enough, it's chocolate. I'm like, gosh darn it. So I go to the other side. So now I end up with a swirl that I didn't want. And the guy walks by and he's like, just look down at the napkin at the bottom. You can see where they all are, which he's exactly right. There was drippings of each one. It was pretty easy to figure out. I'm like, oh, that's a great piece of advice.
That's St. John's education.
I was just playing chicken with the soft serve machine. You say that like I went to college for a long time. That's still working on that degree.
I thought you were doing classes online in between the ball games.
I did for a little while. I did when I was in Japan, and I was like, I'm done. No more.
I think you're good at this point. Doobie to left. And out of play. That guy in the green shirt right there, that jersey, had a golden opportunity at that baseball. Right through his hands and went to a Braves fan. This one's in play. Will it drop? Wow. That is a spectacular diving catch by Rafaela out there in center field. Yeah, tip your cap. Since the Braves are up 8-2, we'll tip our cap as well.
It's a really nice play, I got to tell you. I thought that was getting down for sure, but he was able to get there again. This guy's been very impressive in center field for the Boston Red Sox.
Well, we have to cut back here because the Braves are challenging whether this ball was caught by Rafaela. So crew chief Jordan Baker's talking with the replay center in New York.
So it's interesting. They showed it on the big screen in between. He was there.
After review, the call on the field is confirmed. It is a catch. Atlanta will lose the catch.
But it was, to me, it was a matter of whether or not from this point did it actually get the grass there, right? As he's sliding across, was the ball touching the grass? And it was. I don't know how that works. If you're squeezing it, but you're also touching grass, I don't know.
We return you to your regularly scheduled commercial break.
It's pretty good timing. Sorry, I forgot about that part.
And then the first pitch is in play after Sweet Caroline. And running into the sun, Ronald Acuna tracks it down.
Maybe that's why there was some extra booing when it was announced that the Braves were challenging that play, because it delayed Sweet Caroline here at Fenway Park.
And now you will see some of the fans, not a lot of them, but some of them will exit that were hanging on in an 8-2 game to do the Sweet Caroline song here. It's a great tradition.
It is. They do a nice job with it, especially when you're only here 3 games a year, right? You don't get tired of it.
Pinch hitter here with 1 down. See, there they go. Director Brent Kristan all over it. So Myers steps in the spot of Sogard here with 1 out in the 8th. The story goes on Sweet Caroline, which was a hit back in 1969 by Neil Diamond. But in 1997 here at Fenway Park, an employee named Amy Toby, who was in charge of ballpark music, played the song as a tribute to a friend who had welcomed a newborn named Caroline. So she just played it, went over really well. And then in 1998, the next few years, they would play it, since it went over so well that one time, occasionally during big moments. But then in 2002, because the fans kept saying, hey, play that song, we love it, it became the official ritual, and it has been a part of this ballpark ever since.
Yeah, the Red Sox kind of own it now.
And it's always in between the top and bottom of the 8th.
A lot of Neil Diamond in my house growing up as a kid. There was a couple of those, the vinyls. I can still see them, yes.
You say that like there's a touch of disdain?
Well, no, I mean, just, you know, you get used to whatever music's getting played in the house at the time. I also grew up with the 8-tracks too. So in the car was the 8-tracks. In the house, it was the vinyl. Neil Diamond, Harry Chapin, there was none of that going on from my parents.
Challenge here.
It's called a strike. The batter challenges.
It is confirmed.
Call a strike is confirmed. Boston only has 1 challenge remaining.
The young 28-year-old Will Trainer, home plate up, been hanging in there nicely today. Made his major league debut as an umpire less than a year ago. It was June of 2025 when he umped his first Major League Baseball game. Well, Lopez came in last inning, got 3 quick outs, so now he's trying to make it 6 up and 6 down.
By the way, thinking about debuts, Michael Harris, today is the 4-year anniversary of his Major League debut.
And he celebrated with a solo homer.
Well done.
Ozzie can't get to it. And Falefa has reached all 4 times. Here's a quick message from Delta.
From Braves country to the world. Delta, official airline of the Atlanta Braves.
Narvaez liner to Dubon. He'll take it. 2-out hit, but no damage. 8-2. Our defensive play of the game, presented by Carfield, goes to Chris Sale. 5 innings, 2 earned runs, 8 strikeouts today.
He battled today, right? A lot of guys on base, but the idea of getting through 5, giving your team a chance to win, and kind of joked about outlasting the other starter. He did, right? Totally did not get through 5 innings today, and then the offense took over, which puts Chris Sale in a position to potentially win this game, which would mean a decision in each of his first 11 starts. He has been in the middle of all of it. And he did a nice job battling today. We know Chris Sale. We know he's going to be hard on himself and upset that he only went 5 innings, and that meant the bullpen had to pick up 4. But he got the job done.
And if he does get that win, it will be his 8th of the year, and that will tie him with Davis Martin of the White Sox and Gavin Williams of the Guardians for the most wins by a starter this year in Major League Baseball. Ryan Watson on for the 9th here for the Red Sox. A single in 4 trips today for Matt Olson. Only 6 games today across Major League Baseball. It is the lightest schedule of any day heading into the All-Star break, with just 12 teams playing. The Braves the only team in the NL East in action, so they can bump up their advantage to 8.5 games over the Phillies with a win here. The wind is trying to take this into the seats. Wow, off the net.
Watching Contreras to that one, it looked like he was almost camped just barely in foul territory. He just kept getting pushed and pushed right into that net.
Was whipping earlier.
That's It's whipping up there.
Yeah.
That's of course above home plate. The first flag was dead center field, so I guess if you hit it high enough, you can be wind affected. That's interesting.
See what the wind does with this. Well, nobody's going to get to it. It's off the base of the wall. Sliding into second, Matt Olson with a double to start the ninth.
That's a nice piece of hitting right there. And even though not high enough, that was kind of the direction of the wind, at least that we saw from the top. But this ball just smoked by Matt Olson. 102 miles an hour against this curveball from Watson. Outer third, head down, and just drilled. I do love that about watching Matt Olson swing and how well he keeps that chin down. You see it end up kind of touching his left shoulder. Talk about guys when they pull off, that is the opposite there with Matt Olson and staying through.
Give Matt now 33 extra base hits on the season, the most in Major League Baseball. Also, the fifth time today the Braves have had the leadoff man on. They have had a lot of base runners in this one. But the big inning was the 5-run sixth with a Ronald Acuna Jr. grand slam over the Green Monster. Ozzie gives it a ride. Deep to right center. Double-digit runs for the Braves. 10-2. And a 3-hit game for Ozzie. That one was smoked.
It's a big home run here at Fenway Park. Two-seam fastball to Ozzie at 94, but it is right down the middle, just a little bit of movement, and he barrels this thing. 104 off the bat, 416 feet here for Ozzie Albies.
And the Braves offense busting out in a big way after being shut out yesterday by the Red Sox. And he hit it into the front row of where the original fence was when they built Fenway back in 1912. And they moved it in out there in right center in 1940. But Ozzie had enough juice to get it over both walls.
So is the bullpen mound, was it just in front of, was it maybe in foul territory over here? Because there wasn't room down the lines unless they added. I don't even know. I have to go back and look at the pictures. And of course you go back way back when, and a lot of times those bullpens were just right there on the warning track in front of the dugout or near the dugout.
And CJ was talking the other day about how much he loves the bullpens here at Fenway Park.
I'm going to tell you about the bathroom down there, by the way. It's the scariest thing you've ever been in your life. It's so small. It's dark. There's like the dimmest light. I'm sure they've improved it since then. But basically, when you're looking at the relievers that are sitting down there, right to what is now your left, there's a little hallway in there. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's the Red Sox. Never mind. Who wants to see the Red Sox? Show our guys. Anyway, right to the left where that Dick's Sporting Goods sign is. That's where the restroom is. It's always a little bit creepy out there. It was like being in like an old house's basement. And just cement walls. Yeah.
Well, now you get to watch it from up here in the beautiful booth. So before they built that out there in 1940, where the bullpens now are, the original setup. Strike three. Tough day for Austin Riley. 4 strikeouts, but the rest of the Braves thankfully have put up 10 runs. But the bullpens were located directly kind of right in playing territory along the left and right field lines, if you can believe that. So relief pitchers would warm up right along the outer edges of the outfield grass, completely exposed to the game and the fans. And players and coaches constantly had to dodge live play, if you can believe that. From when it opened in 1912 until 1940. Imagine that today.
It doesn't seem like that would be real professional baseball. So we've been talking a lot about 7-hole, as Mateo is coming up, 7-hole hitter today here for the Atlanta Braves. But between both teams, the 7-hole has been absolutely crushing it this series, hitting 600. Here, 12 for 20. The Braves 8 for 11. The Red Sox 4 for 9. 3 doubles in there, a home run, 4 driven in, and just 2 punch outs to 3 walks.
But Mateo has added to that today. Sends this deep to center. Deepest part of the park, though, out there near the 420 sign, and it's brought in by Rafaela. But Ozzie with a 2-run homer.
Adding on in a big way is the Braves second baseman, and the Braves have opened this thing up.
Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealers today. By the Wells Fargo Active Cash Credit Card. Earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases. Terms apply. And by Yellowwood brand pressure treated pine. If it doesn't have this yellow tag, you don't want it. Well, there's likely going to be a winning Yastrzemski in the ballpark today, but he's going to be wearing a Braves jersey. And it's because of a couple of big swings. Our Whataburger, what a play. This was the big one, the grand slam by Acuna.
Special to see here. How about the Braves today with their 3 home runs? Only 2 over their last 5 games. There was a little bit of panic in Braves country, at least from what I was hearing on social media. Everyone's got to take a big inhale and exhale. This team is just fine, and the offense has gone off here in the early evening at Fenway Park.
As we are now right at 7 o'clock Eastern. We appreciate you spending your Thursday evening with us. A lot of smiles for the Braves. Dodd will try to get the final 3 outs. This one below our booth. That was directly lined up with me.
Yep.
So yesterday when you caught that, I moved to the left. I would have been under the desk if that would have kept coming.
That one seemed even faster. I could not really probably help you out in that spot. You would have been on your own.
I would have been ducking for cover. Well, we thought we might see Reynaldo Lopez come back out for a 3rd inning, but instead Dodd will try to get the last 3 outs.
Yeah, I thought the same, right? The pitch count was in a pretty good spot for Reynaldo Lopez here. I think, what do you have? Only 19 pitches in his 2 innings. 15 of those were strikes. And maybe it's just something they've decided on with him, that they'll keep him at 2-inning outings.
You have to keep your head on a swivel here at Fenway Park. Another one that came towards us.
And what we were told too, especially for us, is those right-handed hitters. That's where you're going to get most of those foul balls that make their way up here.
Durbin, the righty, now waiting another 1-2. Both teams will race to the airport after this one. Boston is off to Cleveland. 3 with the Guardians starting tomorrow. The Braves off to Cincinnati, so both teams going to the Buckeyes State. Olsen is taller, so he takes it.
It's been a really good run for Braves fans that will come to an end on Saturday. We do have a national game again, right? We hadn't had one in a long time. We had a bunch early. I believe it was 7 of the first 27. But that Saturday game will be on Fox. But there's good news. BG will be on that call representing us.
I will be there. Do we know how many straight games it has been on?
I don't
Braves
remember.
Vision?
For some reason, 35 is sticking out, but I don't think that's right. I guess I could go look. I have that calendar.
Yeah, tomorrow night, Saturday night, and then Sunday afternoon, the 3 in Cincinnati against the Reds. First time that the Braves have played the Reds this year. And knock on wood, the weather's been good here in Boston. It looks like it's going to be decent in Cincinnati as well. We'll hope the forecast holds.
It'll be 31 straight, counting tomorrow.
That's a good run.
It was a good run. We're pretty much in 1 or 2 per month, kind of the rest of the way.
CJ's already excited to get his Skyline chili there in Cincinnati.
So excited. So the Reds broadcast yesterday, I saw this making its rounds on social media. They were playing the Mets. They were in New York. And I guess there was a Skyline chili egg roll that they were trying. They were giving him the Wiley Ballard treatment for Jim Day. And he was towing the line because obviously he didn't want to say anything bad about Skyline chili. It's, of course, a Cincinnati staple. However, whatever he was eating clearly was disgusting because he didn't have a single word to say.
Swing and a miss. 2 down here in the bottom of the 9th. So it's Skyline chili wrapped up and deep fried.
Yeah.
We call that a laxative.
That's right. It was,
if you need to clean your colon out, that's what you turn to.
Did not look enjoyable.
That sounds really bad. Rafaela is the final hope. The Braves, with 1 more out, still through 17 series, will not have lost back-to-back series all season. They lost the last one to the Nationals, but kind of bounce back here and win 2 or 3 from the Red Sox.
Darren Day down to his last hope as well. I think he was very much hoping to get a foul ball, right? He had caught a couple in batting practice of the Green Monster. I think he had some foul ball envy yesterday, and he is running out of time.
Two down, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Acuña's grand slam launched this offense. They've scored 8 unanswered. And now Dodd trying to put the finishing touches on this series. Braves fans that are here standing waiting for that final out. 2-2. And Rafaela still has life. Saw him make a tremendous catch out in center field last inning. Won a Gold Glove last year in a breakout season for the budding superstar, Ceddanne Rafaela. Another foul ball. Win 10-2 the final, and Atlanta wins the series in Boston, and that is now 15 series wins through just 57 games, the second most in franchise history, going all the way back to 1897.
That's incredible to see what this team has done, the start that they have gotten off to, the way they bounced back from yesterday's game and getting shut out. Chris Sale was great. 5 innings for him, 8 punch-outs today, just a couple of runs, and it was the offense, and a big moment for 2 of those guys right there. The home run that we saw from Michael Harris, but the big one from, of course, Ozzie Albies and what he did here and that big grand slam. That was awesome to see, and good to see the offense alive. It's fun to come into Boston and take a series, and we look forward to taking the next one now in Cincinnati.
Atlanta 38-19 as they hit the air to Cincinnati to take on the Reds tomorrow. Stay tuned now for the post-game show to wrap it up, and the boys will look ahead to that series with Cincinnati as well. For our entire crew, Here in Boston at Fenway Park. For Wiley Ballard, for C.J. Nitkowski, I'm Brandon Gaudin signing off and saying so long, everybody.